Hello and welcome to another episode of Good Faith Gaming. I'm your host Ben, and today I'm going to be looking at my favorite games of the year so far. Now we're entering July, which is starts the second half of the year, and so I want to look back and celebrate some of the awesome games that we've had to experience this year. Alright, and in no particular order, let's go through my list. Earlier this year, I went back and played a previous entry in the series. And while I enjoyed many aspects of the experience, I was hoping the new entry would be more refined, and that's exactly what I got here. My history with this series isn't very extensive. I know some people prefer the older style of games, but for me, I really enjoy both of them, and so the newest game this year in the series is Assassin's Creed Shadows. The previous game in the series I played was Odyssey. It had a great setting, strong characters. However, combat was a bit weak to me, and I found myself becoming bored in most of the combat situations, and I had hoped that Shadows would focus more on combat. Well, here Ubisoft delivered, and the combat so far has been satisfying, offering more challenge and depth. You're encouraged more to study your opponent's moves and what they're going to do, and there are different kinds of blockable attacks, and there's unblockable attacks as well. The added depth here is greatly appreciated. Visually, it's a stunning game, and I haven't played a game that looked this good since Horizon Forbidden West. The seasonal variety adds so much atmosphere. Cherry blossoms drifting through the air, leaves blowing over rooftops, snowfall piling up around shrines. I keep stopping just to mess around with photo mode because there are so many incredible vistas to behold. Beyond that, it's more role-playing game than traditional Assassin's Creed, but a much more refined experience than Odyssey was. Having two distinct characters has been great. I mostly explore and play stealth as Noe, but usually after, 2 hours or so of playing as her, I like to switch it up to Yasuke, and it's really fun to completely demolish anybody in front of you. Overall, I'm 70 hours in, and I'm enjoying exploring this world. So I'll ask you, have you played Assassin's Creed Shadows? If you are, how are you liking it? Alright, this next game here is easily my most anticipated game of the year, and I'm happy to say that it lived up to every bit of the hype. The world is immersive, the music is incredible, the performances are top-notch, and everything the first game did well has been polished and perfected here. Of course, I'm talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I played the original back in 2018 after I bought it on a whim. I quickly fell in love with the characters and found myself completely absorbed in the open world. The game had a few rough edges, like the combat and systems onboarding, and all that has been addressed here. I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and the game is beautiful and runs flawlessly to my eye. One of the best parts is just getting on your horse and riding into a new area and exploring. It always feels like a real adventure, so you've always got to stay prepared. I will always 100% a village before moving on. In my playthrough, I have just arrived in Gutenberg, and I was blown away by how massive and detailed the city is. Another favorite area was Trotsky Castle. Climbing to the top and seeing how far you could see across the landscape was a highlight for me. And later, after I was exploring the castle during a rainstorm, it felt so moody and atmospheric, it was actually kind of cozy. I liked leaning off the railings up at the top of the castle and just watching this rainstorm all around me. I'm playing this one slowly and on purpose. I want to be neck deep in it by the time the DLC drops, because I probably won't go back if I've already beaten the game. So let me ask you, are you playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Are you into historical grounded games like I am? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Alright, this next game I'm playing with my daughter, and I think it's a great pick for families. Something, you can enjoy with your spouse or older kids. I'm a few hours in, and the creativity and imagination here on display is already impressive. The story has been solid so far, and I'm really enjoying the contrast in styles. The game I'm talking about is Split Fiction. Out of all the games I've talked about today, this is the one I've played the least actually. Mostly because the Switch 2 has been distracting everyone in the house. However, I'm excited to get back to it and finish it before the end of the year. And I hear the last chapter is really amazing. What I appreciate the most about it is it's not trying to be It Takes Two Part 2. It's telling its own story, and it has its own vibes. There have already been some really imaginative moments, but I'll keep it vague in order to not ruin it and spoil things for other people. Alright, this next game took the gaming world by storm, and really blew a lot of people away, myself included. I remember seeing the first teaser of it a few months ago and knowing right away that it would be something special. Of course, I'm talking about Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Now, I played this game like a junkie, and I couldn't put it down until I knew where the story was going. I really appreciated its length. Don't get me wrong, I love a long, like 120 hour JRPG like Persona 5 and Metaphor, but it's always refreshing to finish an epic game like this in under 40 hours. Something that respects your time. Now, no story spoilers here, except to say I loved everything that happened, and I wish more modern JRPGs were as bold as this one. Beyond that, highlights were the amazing score, the genre-defining combat, the depth of characters, the graphics and the environments, and the apparent passion on display. If you haven't played Expedition 33 and are a JRPG fan, you owe it to yourself to check this one out. This is the last game on my 2025 Game of the Year watch list. It launched around the same time as Expedition 33, and in a lot of ways it got overshadowed by it. I kept seeing people talk about it on Twitter, and the buzz just kept building. At the same time, there were rumors that the studio might shut down because the game wasn't selling so well. So I decided to grab a copy of this game, and that is 100 Line Last Defense Academy. Now, I wasn't sure if I'd end up playing it or not, but I picked it up as my vacation game of the year, as we always go to Gulf Shores. I wanted something to play. I've also never played a Danganronpa game before, and I really didn't know what to expect here. But now, after about 20 hours, I think it's something really special. Gameplay-wise, it's a mix of visual novel and strategy RPG, kind of like Fire Emblem. The story is a mystery. You play as Takayumi Sumino, a student living in a strange version of Tokyo. One day, he's spirited away by a mysterious figure to the 100 Line Academy, where he and a group of other kidnapped students must work together to fend off enemies, also while uncovering the truth behind their situation. The cast is great, funny, well-written, and full of personality. I'm not sure if I'll see all 100 endings, but I'll definitely see a few of them. Now that the Switch 2 is out, it's going to be harder than ever to keep up. I'm especially excited for Metroid Prime 4 and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm definitely curious to see what Lost Soul Aside ends up being. So let me know what your favorite games of 2025 have been so far, and what you're looking forward to next. Adios!